What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the More Than Love podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran.
And I'm your co-host, Jay Dabo.
Today we're going to be talking about gender equality. It's a real interesting topic, a hot button topic. People seem to have some real strong feelings on the topic. So I figured it'd be something real interesting for us to elaborate on and give some real authentic insight on it. We got a guest tonight that's going to be joining us in a little while, Mr. E from the Love and War Talk podcast. So he'll be joining in to shed his perspective on the topic. So I think it should be a real good mixture of perspectives on this particular topic. Tonight, but before we get into the topic of the night and all that, we like to start the podcast off with a segment that we call Terry's Top 3, where we basically elaborate and discuss the most controversial or the most interesting posts from my Instagram page at Terry Duran. So we got a couple interesting posts this week that we're gonna talk about. The first post that I wanted to talk about is a post that I saw that went viral, and it said, "A woman should never be struggling financially, spiritually, insecurely, or emotionally with a grown man laying next to her." Now, this kind of quote is problematic because what it does is it essentially blames a man for any problem that a woman can be having in her life. You know what I mean? Like, if you just read that and you took that for face value or you accepted that as truth, then that implies that a man being next to you is supposed to prevent all those things from happening. And that's impossible to do. I mean, ain't it very possible for two people to be struggling together? Right? Just a woman can be with a quality grown man and still be insecure. She could still have emotional problems or be in an emotional state. So the idea that go ahead.
What I was saying is, I think with that, it's better to say like the man is the problem solver there. Seems to be all end all to all that. I guess, she gets the man, she should be set financially, she should be insecure, and everything else is just man thing.
And yeah, I mean, the problem though is
kind of what's implying,
it's not taking any accountability for her own predicament.
Right.
Is blaming everything on the man. And essentially what the unspoken part, the part that says laying next to, that means I shouldn't be giving pussy to a man and still be broke, insecure, emotional, etc. That's what that really means. The laying next to a man means I shouldn't be giving him pussy and still be experiencing these circumstances, which is a mythological belief that a lot of women have. Giving up some pussy to a man does not change your life. It does not change your financial situation. It does not change or improve any of those things. And it goes to show, this is another kind of glimpse into the problem that women have with all the expectations that they place on sex. A woman can be insecure, a lot of times a woman fucking a man is what makes her insecure. Now she's worried about other women. Now she's comparing herself to his exes and his baby mama and all these other type of things. So a man simply being involved with a woman or laying next to her does not eliminate any of those problems. Now, should a man be that you're involved with in a relationship, you just fucking somebody don't entitle you to anything. But if you are in a committed relationship with somebody, a serious relationship, then by all means, y'all should be helping each other. That's the whole point. The whole point of marriage and serious relationship, let's pool our resources. I care about you, you care about me. Let's pool our resources to try to build something better and both benefit from it. That's the ultimate goal. And so these type of quotes, memes, whatever you want to call it, they promote this, they support this this flawed perspective that women have on men in relationships, where if there's any problems, they find a way to blame it on the man. And they have this expectation that all these things should be fixed or they should not exist because they're with a man. And that's that does not reflect reality in any way whatsoever. So,
the only way, if you're, if you get with a man, if you're with a man, where your financial situation has changed, obviously, if you dealing with a different kind of money than the average Joe is,
Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy how women kind of play these type of things, and that kind of plays into what we're talking about tonight, gender equality. I'll save my thoughts until we start discussing the topic, but this post directly plays into the topic of the night. The next post that I want to talk about is a video that I came across from a chick that I follow named Danny Deuces, and it's talking about the difference between a threesome and a train. Let's take a listen.
I've never been so confused in my life. This girl said a threesome is 2 men and 1 girl. And I'm confused because I'm from the hood. I know a threesome is 2 girls and 1 guy. And when there's 2 or more men with a 1 female, that's a train. Of course, everybody knows that. But she's from Toronto, so she said, no, I don't like girls. If I'm having a threesome, I want 2 men instead of like another female and my dude. I'm like, then you want to get trained on.
No, it's not.
It is a train.
And so that's what I prefer. I would date a bisexual dude.
Okay, you want to get trained on.
And what the is your
Nothing.
point?
You like to get trained on, baby girl. Get
No, I don't like to.
Christian.
All right, now that situation got heated, and it's really hard to understand why. Because essentially all she's doing is talking about slang, what people refer to situations as, and I don't think she said anything that's inaccurate. You know what I mean? Like when you say a train, most people know what most people visualize 2 men being with 1 woman. Usually, 1 dude's hitting it from the back while the other dude's getting sucked up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
I thought it was just universally known as a train.
Yeah.
I grew up calling it train, still calling it to this
Well,
day. I just thought that, that's just what it was.
I mean, I think
I didn't know it was a whole big thing here.
I don't think it is a big thing. I don't know. We can't say universally because obviously there's a negative connotation that some people place on the word train. Now, I don't think that everybody does that. I don't think, I'm always having these debates on my page about calling stuff what it is, using words to describe things. And so this is just one of those type of situations. She did not say there was something wrong with having a threesome with 2 men or a train. Like, she's just saying that she was confused because most people call it a train. You know what I mean? Like when you say threesome or menage a trois or whatever you want to say, those are usually thought of to be more than 1 woman being with 1 man, right? When a dude says, I want a threesome for my birthday, he's suggesting bringing another woman into the bedroom,
right?
Not another man. And so I don't think there's no shaming or whatnot, and that appears to be how the chick in the video took it. You know what I mean? Like she's getting madder and madder trying to defend herself when nobody's even criticizing. She was just talking about the different terminology. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with having different terminology than somebody. That's what communication is for. You can explain what you meant or how you describe something so that they can know what you're talking about. And so her saying like all you have to say was train. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how most people where I'm from refer to that as. And it just goes to show you how drastically different women feel about those type of things. You know what I mean? Like, she's offended by the word because of how it's perceived, when she's acknowledging that she enjoys fucking 2 men at the same time. Like, how can you be bold enough to admit that on a podcast or a show, and then be offended that somebody called it a train?
I guess you see it as a derogatory term for what she wants,
Yeah, I mean, it's no. I mean, I get it. We have different words that we use for different things, and some people take offense to those things. You know what I mean? Like, is no different than a gay person taking offense to being called a FAG or something to that effect. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
everybody knows what you mean when you use that word. How you feel about the word or whether you take offense to it or not is something different. And I think it's the same way with train. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there was anything offensive by what she was saying or what she the information that she stated. And I made the point on my page. If you just went to a porn site and you typed in the word train, you're going to see videos with two men fucking a chick. Those are the first videos that are going to come up. It's not going to be two women being with one man. And so that lets you know that most people view that type of sex or that particular type of threesome as a train. It's just a nickname. It's no different than having the word coupe or sedan describe specific type of cars. If I say a coupe, you automatically know it's a two-door vehicle. If I say, man, it's a sedan, you automatically know it's a four-door vehicle. They're both cars. And so a train is a threesome. You know what I mean? Like, on my page, a lot of the women seem to be arguing on whether it's a threesome or a train. It's like, no. That doesn't stop it from being a threesome. It's just how most people refer to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's one of those scenarios where it's a pointless argument that doesn't really need to be.
It literally was.
Yeah, I mean,
I just didn't see what the whole commotion was about.
The commotion's about women placing their feelings on something. You know, it's no different than when I put up a post and I use the word cheating on my page. There are instantly women that get in their feelings and relate that to their personal situation and steer the conversation from what it actually was. You know what I mean? So, train is obviously a trigger word for a woman that has a threesome with two men. She feels some type of way about having it called a train when that's what most people refer to it as. Let's see. The next post that I wanted to talk about was a post that I put up, and it was a post that said, one of the biggest reasons women continue to struggle with men is because a lot of the things they believe about men are false or inaccurate, and they refuse to update their perspectives. Like, now, I see this every day. That's a post that was a direct reflection of the comments and the mentalities that I see displayed in my comments every single day. And I try so hard to try to correct and refine some of these perspectives that women have about men that are blatantly inaccurate. You know what I mean? But it seems that whenever you try to do that, there are going to be women that resist the truth. They would much rather believe in the myths, assumptions, and things that they've been told by other people instead of listening to men tell them what they really think and feel. And it's really kind of mind-boggling. You know what I mean? Like, because if your goal is to be with the opposite sex and have a healthy long-term relationship with them, then you need to have an accurate perspective of them, how they operate, what makes them tick, what makes them upset, what creates conflict with them, etc. And that's one of the things that men are able to pick up on and learn over time by dating several women. You know what I mean? Like, men that you might not sleep with all of them, but getting their perspective, learning what triggered them to have an argument, learning what got them in their feelings, learning what they misinterpret or can't understand. Those type of things, those type of experiences let you know what to expect when you're in a marriage or a committed relationship with a woman. That's why men expect to deal with bullshit when they get in a serious relationship. They know already going into it what to expect because they have an accurate perspective of women. Women have this, I mean, the perspective that they have about men is unrealistic, and it's in a negative way. Like if it's something negative about men that is spread or a stereotype, they believe it and buy into it 100%. But if it's something that dispels that myth or proves it to be untrue, they're resistant to believe it. And it makes it very difficult to be able to establish a healthy relationship with a lot of these women because of how negatively they view men and how unwilling they are to adjust those extremely. Just turn it down some. Acknowledge that not all men are like that. Like that, they're quick to state, not all women, Terry, not all women, but they want to stick. They want to hold all men to these negative views and negative perceptions that they have, and it's really hypocritical, and it really does a disservice to women because they're eliminating quality men for dumb reasons. They're forming negative opinions over men over normal basic stuff. And that's a big part of the problem with dating these days. You know, and it ties into something we're always talking about, why women cannot differentiate between quality men and fuckboys. Because their system is flawed. You know what I mean? Like if NBA scouts had a flawed system of evaluating players, you'd see them picking people that don't make any sense. And some of them do that.
But it's happened.
I know.
But
Exactly.
It's happened. I mean, how many times has the number one draft pick been a bust?
I get it. It does happen. And that's because there's no ideal system. But but my point is there are some people that get the evaluation process right and they consistently pick good players. Jerry West knows what to look for when he's looking for a superstar or a quality NBA player. So it's about your system. No system's guaranteed to get you results. You know what I'm saying? Like any dude can pretend or lead you to believe he's a quality man, at least for a little while. You know what I mean? But if your system is the problem, if you're looking at a quality dude and you come to the conclusion he's a fuckboy or he ain't shit because of your flawed system, then that's a much bigger issue to fix. You need to overhaul your dating infrastructure if that's the case.
But going back to your NBA analogy, that's why the good teams are the good teams. The Golden State, San Antonio Spurs, Boston Celtics, and those teams are good almost every year. They have good scouting system, and they get the right players. And it's like teams like you say, the Knicks haven't been good in 15, for the better part of 2 decades here.
Exactly. All right, man. It look like we're about to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be getting into our topic of the night with Mr. E. We're going to be discussing gender equality. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back momentarily. You're listening to the More Than Love podcast. Thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, welcome back. You're listening to the More Than Love podcast. I got our guest on the of the night on. What's going on, Mr. E? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Terry?
Nothing much, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come chop it up with us. You know what I mean? Like, I know you have your own podcast, Love and War Talk, so I was kind of familiar with some of your perspectives, so I figured you'd be a good person to bring on the show, man. I'm glad we're able to make it happen.
Man, thank you.
All right, so let's jump right into the topic of the night. So tonight we're talking about gender equality, and this seems to be a real hot button topic that a lot of women, feminists, etc., are really pushing for, and there are some mixed feelings about it, right? Because one of the reasons is there's a difference between what gender equality laws and the political fight is about and how it's actually applied by women and how they use it, right? So I'm going to start out with the textbook definition of what gender equality is or is supposed to be. So gender equality, also known as sexual equality, is the state of equal ease of access to resources and opportunities regardless of gender, including economic participation and decision making, and the state of valuing different behaviors, aspirations, and needs equally, regardless of gender. Now, with that definition, I don't see any issue with that at all. I do believe that women should get paid the same thing as a man for doing the same job. You know what I mean? Like I don't support the disparity in, let's say, NBA, WNBA. You know what I mean? Like things like that where there's a glaring disparity that disproportionately impacts women. I'm not for that. But the way that in general terms, in general discussions, how this term is used, women wanting to be equal, they try to apply it to things as far as things that they perceive men to be winning at, or advantages that men seem to have. Things like promiscuous behavior, casual sex, things where we know how they feel about it. We know that they're not really built like that, but they'll pretend that they want to act like men and be like men just for the sake of argument. And so that's where my biggest issue comes with this whole idea of gender equality. What do you think, E?
I think there's a lot of dynamics involved with gender equality. You made a good point. When it comes to things that, especially where there's an even playing field, like for example, jobs, or income, or resources, or education, loss, I think that it's only fair that men and women are equal, you know, and they're treated as such. So I agree with that 100%. But we can't ignore the fact that at the very end of the day, that there are some physical differences.
Exactly.
When it comes to men and women. So a lot of the guidelines that have been set by society and culture in regards to men and women, a lot of the differences are based on the differences that exist between men and women. That's physically, and also there's also some mental differences, and we have to take those into account. And I believe that a lot of women, because I'll be honest enough to say, I don't really hear men with this argument. I can say that there's no men that don't have the argument, but I rarely hear men complain about the difference between men and women as far as equality. When the truth of the matter is, there's sometimes a big difference, and sometimes it's in the favor of a woman.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was gonna say, man, I don't really think that men and women, like, and when it comes to dating and romance, you can't really ever be equal. Men and women have different roles in society. They have different roles in a family, different roles in a relationship. So the only thing that can really be equal as far as a romantic relationship is your effort. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really it. And so, but women try to bring all these things up when it's convenient for them. You know what I mean? Like when you talk about paying for a date, oh no, they want to stick to tradition. They want to stick to how it's supposed to be. When you talk about paying bills, there are a lot of women that no, I want a man to just take care of me. So they won't equal. They want to make what you make, but they still want you to pay 100% of the bills. That's the part that I take issue with. Like, you can't say that you want to have equality, and then when it's convenient or when you see it's beneficial, then no, that's all the men. You're supposed to be the man and you handle it because you're the man. I couldn't date a woman that had inconsistent thoughts like that. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I think that's where most men take issue with it, because we know just in general, we have laws and rules that are designed to protect women and children primarily. There are several instances where women completely benefit, child support, divorce, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there are a whole bunch of scenarios where men are getting completely fucked over. And that kind of ties in our conversation about Mick told a few weeks ago, Jay.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that.
Yeah, why these men don't want to get married.
The marriage laws, child support laws kind of favors the women as opposed to men. Like, how many men get child support for women? Not many.
Yeah, I mean, and you see it in the response to things that happen. A woman gets a child support ruling, women are all supportive of it. A man gets a divorce and gets some spousal support, now it's the end of the world. Now it's a problem. Like, nah, you got to keep that same energy. Y'all applaud it. You know what I'm saying? You applaud women like Juanita Jordan getting 160 million. Tiger Woods' wife getting hundreds of million. Women support these type of things, but they have a problem when a man, even though it's extremely rare when men get a come up out of a marriage.
Well,
you know,
I don't know if you remember the Dwight Howard situation a few years, I think this was back 2010 or 11, where his baby mom wasn't allowed to post any photos of kids or anything like that, and she did. She would lose everything, and she lost the house, car, and everything.
I mean, I heard something about that vaguely. I knew she was publicly humiliating him and creating problems with social media, but I didn't know that she ended up losing some her assets because of it. But that's her bad. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get to the point where you got a court order,
but the point, a lot of those are few far in between.
True. You know what I mean? Like so E, when you're talking about gender equality, right? So women want equal pay to men. They want that. That's their biggest point. They want to make the same pay. But there are a lot of things in the workplace that are not fair. A man saying a woman sexually harassed him is not going to get treated like the Me Too movement where a woman accuses a man of harassing her. You know what I mean? Like so. What was that?
No, I agree. That's correct.
You know what I mean? Like so rape laws. A woman can lie and say a man raped her. You know what I mean? Like so we have all these situations that make it impossible for men to ever really be equal with women because of all the things that women can do that can hurt a man financially, emotionally, legally, etc. And men have to just accept it. There's really no recourse to those things. You can try to avoid that predicament. You can do your best to be careful with who you impregnate or with all those things, but they still don't guarantee it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be married to a wonderful woman, and once y'all start going through a divorce, her divorce lawyer gets in her ear and completely change her behavior. You know what I mean? Like I see that. I was in Chicago and I saw the billboards. Man, I've never saw so many divorce billboards up. You know what I'm saying? Like I did when I was in Chicago. And it just goes to show you that there's a deliberate system to fuck over men that men are having to face. And so it just looked weird to see women crying over equality. Now maybe that's because I'm a black man. I think the financial differences and all that really benefit white men than any other ethnic group. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like black men and black women got this just drastic pay difference. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now Mr. I'll ask this with a sincerity. Do you think the gender equality movement, do you think it favors black women in any way? Or it helpful to them in any way?
Nah, not really. I think it's...
I don't think so either. And I think that it's so much to this. Oh my God, it's so much. But I think that the whole narrative, first and foremost, was never for black women to begin with. The whole idea of femininity and feminism, that was never for black women to begin with. And black women have bought into it so hard because media has captured their attention when it comes to what a black woman is supposed to be, what a black man is doing, the lack thereof. And at the end of the day, it's all entertainment. And black women a lot of times have taken that literally. And there's a very, very false sense of entitlement because there's a lot of narratives that's not true that the media use to manipulate black women. Like, for example, that black men prefer other races. Or the narrative of saying that the black woman makes more than the black man. And that's 100% false statistically.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that's one of the reasons I don't really talk about race on my page when I'm in relation to relationships, because when you're talking about black relationships or black love, you can't ignore the impact that slavery has had on black families and black man and black female relations. You know what I'm saying? Like the distrust, the history of disappointment and anger and bitterness, etc. The inability to be able to support families and all that. All that is a result of slavery and systematic oppression. And so when you're talking about black love and black marriages and all this, you can't have that conversation without putting it in the proper context.
Now what you guys say like black femininity, would you think it hurts the black family?
I think it does without the entire story. I think it does without the entire story, because a lot of our black women are educated on the way the system has, a system of comfort and divide of black families, and I don't think that they understand the way the system works. You know, take the father out of the family. If you take the father out of the family, that forces him to own as little as possible and have to support two households. You know, mothers say, well, you know what, baby? I'll tell you what you do. You leave, if he ain't doing right, leave him alone and just get his pockets and go get you another man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the way the systems like divorce and child support and all those type of things, I think those things give women less incentive to make relationships work. You know,
that's 100% correct.
So
100% correct.
Yeah, I mean, like, we know that women want love and want marriage more than men, but a lot of time they want marriage to get the security that comes with it. I got a husband and I got a house and all this stuff for while we're married, but if it ends, I got child support and usually some alimony support, some type of benefit. They walk away with something. You know what I mean? And there's really nothing you can do about it.
Kind of goes back to the conversation from the Nick show a couple of weeks ago, where Mr. People mentioned something of that sort, where women are taking a pragmatic approach when it comes to marriage. Somebody, what actions does he have and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear that women understand how they benefit from those things. So to get back to the topic of the gender equality, there are so many areas where there is such blatant inequality that the conversation about equality becomes like, you can't be serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though we know that there are certain things that are unfair, like you said, pay. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really the one fundamental place that we can go where I think there's going to be universal consensus that we agree that the pay should be equal. You know what I mean? Like, but the burden of responsibility needs to be equal. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the part that I think men are trying to argue. Women can't just pick and choose what things they want to be equal. I want to be equal when it comes to making decisions. I want to be equal when it comes to all these other things, but I don't want to be equal when it comes to accountability. I want to hold you responsible for your actions, but I want to deflect and use my emotions to excuse my behavior. Like, that's the type of hypocritical stuff that I'm always exposing.
Right. I mean, it is like this. You can't, say you want to be a plumber and want equal pay as a man plumber, but not want to get your hands dirty and do the work that he does. And it just doesn't work that way.
Right. I mean, and the post that
but
I put up,
if you're doing the same what he does, hey, by all means, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Now the post that I put up that kind of sparked this gender equality conversation. It didn't really directly relate to the topic, or the textbook definition of the topic, but it showed the practical enforcement of it. And the picture was showing 4 men on a train or a bus sitting in a seat with a woman standing there, without a seat. And so the conversation got shifted to chivalry and being a gentleman. Basically things that have historically given women preferential treatment. pull out her chair, open her door, do nice things for her, get her gifts. Like all this whole narrative that is placed upon society where men are expected to buy gifts, court women, do all these things just in a chance of hoping to get her favor. And smart men don't really subscribe to that. You know what I mean? Like now, that doesn't mean that men don't do what's the word? Chivalry doesn't exist. Like holding the door open. Like I hold doors open. I'd even do it for another dude. If I'm walking out a door, I'm not about, and I see you walking up, I'm not about to just slam the door. I'll wait those 4 or 5 seconds for you to get to the door. You know what I'm saying? Like those are not gender behaviors though. You know what I mean? Like so. That's just common courtesy.
I'm gonna say, Eric, forgive me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I come a whole other angle, and what I do is I let a woman choose off the rip. I said, okay, are we equal, or are you the woman in this relationship and I'm the man? And I let her choose with her words, and I let her choose with her actions. If she wants chivalry, like you said, if she wants doors open and to be catered to, then by default, she wants to be the woman, and I'm going to be the man, and I'm going to be the leader in this situation.
Okay, so elaborate on what you mean by that. So when you say you're talking about conforming to traditional gender roles, male, female behaviors, what exactly do you mean when you say be the woman?
You know what? The best thing I can do is I can use my wife, for example. You can ask my wife right now, if men and women be equal, she's going to tell you no. And to be honest with you, you know, my wife is 13 years older than me. And shout out to her, by the way. She's 13 years older than me. And she has a very mature perspective on it. Okay? Now, and in our marriage, we are side by side. We lead side by side in our marriage. But in this household, I'm the man of this household. Doesn't matter who makes the most. Doesn't matter. Because the thing is, as a man, it's my responsibility to make sure that things are taken care of.
True.
That means that no matter who has questions, I have answers. And if I don't have answers, I go get answers. That's what a man is for. And every now and then I mess with my wife, and I'm keeping it within context. Every now and then I mess with my wife. And she'll ask me something, I'll give an answer. And then I just mess with her, I can be messing with her, and she'll say something like, "Are you sure?" And then I said, "I'll tell you what. If for whatever reason you think I'm not sure, we can switch roles. You be the man and you come up with the answer. And then I'll follow you." See, the moral of that story is that a lot of women want equality until it's time to take on every job description that a man has.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to take on all the jobs. You got to take, like you said, keep the same energy. When it's time to take on all the job descriptions, when somebody hit my front door, are you gonna run towards the door if you don't expect me to do it? Because if I'm doing it, we're not equal. Now, if we both doing it, we equal.
Yeah, I mean, and see that's why I don't think that men and women can ever be equal, because like you said, we think differently. We have different mindsets. Right. And the example that I give, like you just mentioned, a crisis or emergency situation where there's danger involved. If somebody kicks in the door, or there's an emergency where we have to exit the house in an emergency, I'm going to get my gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife is going to be getting our passports and shit like that. I'm focused on keeping us safe. You know what I mean? Like, so we're both going to be focused on making sure we survive, but we're going to handle different things. And it's almost natural. Like, we ain't got to really discuss. I don't need nobody to tell me if some shit's going down and go grab my pistol. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just nature, security, protection, provider. I'm going to make sure we got money and protection. You go get the medicine or whatever you feel like we need. You know, and I know my wife would be done had a Ziploc bag of some shit that I would never have taken time to go get. I got our birth certificates and our marriage certificate, and I got our you know what I'm saying? Like I'll be like, damn, you had time to find all that, or she don't. But that just demonstrates how drastically different we feel about things. You know what I mean? And when we're talking about this gender equality thing, I don't know if all husbands feel this way. Well, I know for a fact that all husbands don't feel that way, but I would willingly give my life for my wife or daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it came to that, I would not expect my wife to do that for me. You know what I mean? Like, so even though she might, I don't have that expectation of her. But I think the expectation on me, if somebody came in our house and I had to fight the person and give my wife and daughter a opportunity to escape, I would do it. I would never expect my wife to go engage the burglar while me and my daughter run. You know what I mean? Like, so that goes to show you that no matter what we say, even though me and my wife's salaries are similar or close to one another, we're not ever going to be the same. I'm never going to be able to cook like her or do my daughter's hair or keep my house looking the way that she does. And that's why we complement one another. And I think that the whole equal thing is probably a lot better off for gay couples. You know what I mean? Like, because y'all are the same sex, obviously. But I don't even think that applies to gay couples, because usually, from what I've observed, one kind of assumes the responsibility of the leader or the man type of role, and then you have the other less dominant person that does the listening and is more subservient. So I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a big sample size.
My question is, this would be for both of you, since you guys both married. Do you think your wife's taking on a leadership position? Do you think that's unnatural for her to take a leadership position as opposed to you? I mean, obviously you got to hear tapping in your shit here.
Well, I mean, my wife's a project manager. She's a very strong woman, so she has her own voice. But I allow my wife to do majority of the hands-on things because she cares about more stuff than I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I care about the money, the major purchases. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at the big picture stuff, and I'll allow her to handle all the minor things. Something major needs to come up, I'll make sure the money's there, or the money's there to be taken care of, transfer money to the joint account and stuff like that. But little small day-to-day decisions, a lot of the stuff I don't care about. So I don't care either way. I don't care what gym you take my daughter to be a cheerleader at. You know, like, so certain things like that don't matter to me. She has the freedom to make her own choices, and it gives her the feeling that I'm not controlling her. I'm not trying to dominate her, because I'm not. I don't have time to be trying to monitor. If I wanted somebody that I had to monitor or tell everything to do, you wouldn't be my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's just the way that I look at it and how I manage my household. I don't try to control the finances to where how much money you need. Show me the receipt. I would never do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But I know that there are some controlling people that do. So whatever floats your boat for your own personal situation. But that's the way that I see. I at least try to give my wife the opportunity to feel like she's leading or making her own decisions by not trying to be a damn control freak. What about you, E? What are your thoughts on leadership with your wife?
Man, it ain't even no use of me saying what goes on in my household, because what you said is exactly how it is for me. Well, me and my wife, not trying to put her business out there, but she's a dissertation away from having a doctorate degree. She's very educated.
Get the coins, miss. Says she can go get them coins.
Yeah. She's very intelligent, and so I let her run the day-to-day operations. But when it's time to make an executive decision, then a lot of times I'm heavily involved in it. But even more than that, I try to give her a wisdom that you can't get in education. I try to give her wisdom when it comes to things about how to move and how to think rationally and practically and objectively. Put emotion to the side when you're making mathematical decisions. But when it comes to those big major decisions, that's pretty much when I step in. And I mean, and what I do is I'll let her manage. So in actuality, she actually runs the household. I'm just over the household.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a smart way to do things because as a man, as a husband, I always felt like I want to make sure my wife and daughter are good if I died tomorrow or if I died tonight. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't have you being the type of wife that you can't do nothing without me. You wreck the car and you don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I just don't have the patience for that type of woman or what, but I could not marry that type of person. I need a person that when my wife comes to me with a decision, she's already done some research. Look, I looked at this Mercedes and I looked at this Lexus. One car note is this, the other one car note is that. What do you think? You know what I'm saying? Like, she knows how to come to me with decisions now. And so you have to figure out what works for you in your relationship for those of y'all listening. But I know how I operate and I know how I make decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I state this all the time. You should always be allowed to express your thoughts and feelings to your spouse. And if you have if you with a quality man, he's going to take your thoughts and feelings into consideration. Like, he's not just gonna make we gonna move here because I said so. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never gonna be that type of vibe if you with somebody that you're really compatible with that really values your opinion. You know, now that don't mean that there ain't times where you're gonna have to get a no and be mad or hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's also one of the biggest that's the biggest lesson I learned as a husband. Like, my rookie year as a husband, I was making decisions trying to just make my wife happy. Like, I believed in that happy wife, happy life shit. So I was just, you wanted to do that, so I'm saying yes, even though I'm questioning the decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you have to be able to tell your woman no and have her to respect your thinking, your decision making, to not make it a World War III or some major challenge. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a sign that you're with somebody that really respects you. When a woman can allow you to no, you can't get it. I know you want a car now, but the way our finances are set up and the way things is looking, we're not gonna be able to get it till next summer. So you're gonna have to drive your car for 7 or 8 more months. Like, you have to do that sometimes, and sometimes it's not pleasant. Sometimes it may be an argument or some attitude, but you got to take the good with the bad. They'll live. You know what I mean? Like, so that's one of the things that I tell new husbands or guys that are looking to get married. Man, the hardest part is telling your wife no. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a sign that you're really doing what you're supposed to do with your best interests of the long-term success of the family in mind. Look like we up against the clock, fellas. Man, this time flew by quick once we started this conversation. Yeah, Mr. E, man, we definitely can have you on as a guest in the future, man. I like your perspective and your insight. So things really did turn out really well. Those of you that are listening, make sure you go watch the podcast, share it with your friends. It's available on iTunes, Google Play. The video will also be up on YouTube. We also have an Instagram page, the More Than Love Podcast Instagram page, where you can follow us to keep up with the podcast. So again, Mr. E, man, I appreciate the love. I appreciate you taking the time out your day. Jay, man, it's been another good episode, man. Y'all wanted to have anything? Mr. E, man, let people know where they can find you before we get out of here, bro.
Okay. First and foremost, man, before I do that, if I could, man, I want to say shout out to Terry, shout out to Jay, shout out to the More Than Love podcast, man. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm a big fan of what y'all are doing, Terry. You know I'm a big fan of your piece, and I appreciate y'all considering me, man. Y'all have a very objective perspective on everything in regards to a men's perspective, and I really appreciate that. You can reach me On Instagram, Mr. E Diddy, MISTA E Diddy, like Diddy. And also, you can catch me on Love and War Talk. We have an Instagram page for that as well. Shout out to Ebony, shout out to our host. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, y'all, man. So, like I said, the link to the podcast is going to be in my bio, and it's available on demand. It's been another episode of More Than Love Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.